Okay, guys, it's almost time. So let me share my screen and we can start. So is the screen visible and I'm audible along with?
Yes, sir. Visible and you are audible.
Okay, great. Thank you. Uh, Friends, welcome to session number two. This is the second session in 2 days. Today's topic, courtesy query, Dr. Samir Batra, first consultation. Yes, we have been discussing a lot about it since many years now, I will say. So let me give you a brief output of a few things, practical things in it, where we actually faltered because sometimes reading is not understood correctly by all the participants, and there we make mistakes. So as usual, all my presentations always will begin with thanking the Lord Almighty, who's given me much more than what I deserve. You all know, are aware of my biodata. So today's topic is first consultation in dentistry. So some of you are aware that yes, I have written a book on it. It was published in the lockdown, 13th of May, The Importance of First Consultation in Dental Practice, along with co-author Dr. Vanna. So yes, it is still not available in India, but I'm trying a lot with working out with a few publishers that all my books would be available, maybe through self-publishing or maybe through KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing, or maybe through another publisher. It will be available in India by mid-year, hopefully, all of them, and all at a say options of buying the Kindle version, buying the copy, and also at a affordable cost, because the one available by lap is not at all affordable for most of the people. It is at $45 approximately, and when it lands in or ships to India, the landing cost is roughly $93, which is I feel that it is an exorbitant cost for it. But nevertheless, let's stick to the topic mentioned in this, importance of first consultation. So what exactly is consultation? We all know about it. We talk to the patient when the patient arrives, and what exactly say happens between you and the patient. The main problem is that this step is bypassed royally in many clinics, in many small to medium clinics, at least I will say. And unfortunately, those clinics are 80 to 85% in number. The large scale or the large setups, we can say, if we talk of the square foot area or we talk of the chair number of chairs wise, they are comparatively less in percentage, maybe 10 to 15%, as per the surveys published in various studies. I've arrived at this figure from those studies only. So the problem is that we actually say bypass many things which ought to be discussed, and they all lead to medical legal cases or payment issues. These are the two things which we should be afraid of. I think that we should be afraid of the payment woes and should be confident of the medical legal issues. We have the reverse. We believe that we should be afraid of medical legal, and we are confident of payment being say sanctioned by the patient at the end of the treatment, and that is where we actually falter. And people actually don't understand the real meaning of first consultation, what actually it is. It does not mean detailing or talking in detail to every patient coming in. You need to judge that what is a short task, what is a long task, what is a medium task. Accordingly, you decide that what patients need to be done. And the commonest thing in all sorts of consultation, either it is a say small case means lasting just the oral prophylaxis, or just a class 1 or a class 2 restoration, or a full mouth case. These are usually the two extremes. The commonest thing in the first primary commonest thing in all of these is listening. What attention do you give to the patient's chief complaint? What exactly to decipher from the patient's needs? Everything starts from the patient's say mouthing their concerns in your clinic, telling you everything. And the problem is sometimes either we are too busy, either we have too much OPD, or we don't have ears to listen to, or we are working on one patient talking to another patient simultaneously. I've seen all those sort of things. I have learned much from others' mistakes. And trust me, many contents of this book even are from my personal experience and much from my other colleague experience. I have been, say, a quick observer since my childhood. That is one of my strengths, that I observe very minutely most of the times, if not all. And actually, I try to pick up the mistakes or faults in someone else. I need not tell the person back, but to tell. I always tell myself that I am not going to commit that mistake, and that should be the aim. You should not be FF, as they say, fault finder for everyone. You might not be taken very kindly by your friends in that regard, but you should be a fault finder in yourself, in that sense that you are not going to commit that mistake in your setup. And by the, say, look of it, we all know it, where we actually are making a mistake or not. So the primary thing starts from patient's dental condition, listening to all the symptoms very clearly, the signs and the symptoms, of course, both. The relevant medical condition, we all know what importance does it carry, the obstacles to treatment, if any, time wise, cost wise, distance wise. There are many, say, or your schedule wise, there are many things hampering our clinic. Then the treatment options, that is one of the most important aspect in any treatment. People will always vouch for this thing, that they were not given the correct option or the correct opinion or the, say, correct consultation in that regard. And the risks which it carries, every treatment would not be very smooth, very, say error free. It will have some risks, and those risks, as we say, the RBOs, the risk benefit and options, these are the three things which need to be told to the patient, along with the relevant details, that if they don't do it, what are the side effects going to be, and the most important, the time and the cost. And usually these are the parameters which we actually start to address after the treatment begins. And that is where we falter. So my short presentation today will tackle all these points. Of course, I can't take the full topic, which is a full day topic, if I just go by the book wise content. But yes, I'll try to finish in 50 to 60 minutes from now. So the basic thing is that the patient has to be given, again, as I said, RBOs. So all the treatment options and details available. And again, these start by law also, they start from the highest to the lowest. For example, a missing tooth, that will start with an implant, whether or not you are offering it, whether or not the patient can afford it. The 2007-8 Supreme Court ruling says that every patient has a right to know of all the options, whether the dentist is offering, whether the doctor is offering it or not, or whether the patient can afford it or not. So it goes in the similar vein, and goes from, say, from an implant to a bridge to cast partial to other probable options available in the that particular case which you are going to treat in the patient. So then there comes the aspect, you are to know the patient actually really well. From the patient's needs, say the patient's wants can be ascertained. From one end of the patient's mouth, you can go on to the other end, just on the basis of your first consultation, just on the basis of your treatment rendered, and just on the basis of the information and education you actually give to the patient. So whatever you try to, say, identify, you have to be a, say, keen observer. You need not, if somebody has come to you with a pain in 3-6, you don't pinpoint the 4-5 and 4-6 missing at that time. Yes, observe it, make a note into your diary, and yes, when the opportune time comes, convey to the patient. Because the patient who has come to you in the first setting with a pain in this thing, he is not interested in listening to, or say, whatever you want to offer, or whatever the other problems are. Yes, if the patient has walked in happily, yes, this is the problem I want to treat. Please just check all other things that need to be done. You need to get a cue from the patient first, but don't just go on, say, blabbering everything that yes, this is also to be done. आपका तो बहुत बुरा हाल है. आप बहुत late हो गए आने में. These are the negative things you don't oust from your mouth in the first sitting. You need to understand what things are to be counted. In the first sitting, the first things should be the patient telling you everything, you observing, assimilating all the information, and then, yes, taking it out when your turn comes. Don't be too eager to speak. Don't be too eager to, say, blabber out everything what you have assimilated unless the patient gives you cue for that. You need to actually know what the patient has come for. You need to understand that the patient might not have come to you for treatment. You might be patient's second opinion or third opinion. So what you need to do is, what you need to actually tell the patient an honest or give the patient an honest consultation, so that you can, from a third or a second opinion, you can become the primary dentist of the patient. Of course, without bad mouthing your colleague or without bad mouthing anything advised to you, your patient, because once you give your honest opinion, the patient might then say spill the beans. He said, मेरे को तो ये ऑफर मिला, ये सॉरी ये ऑप्शन दिया गया था ट्रीटमेंट के लिए, आप वो करते हैं कि नहीं करते हैं, इज दैट द बेस्ट ऑप्शन? एंड व्हेन द पेशेंट sees that and knows that, and when he gets an option, and before he comes to you, there is a middle road as well. There is a middle dentist as well. The middle dentist is Dr. Google. He will have surely confirmed these things from Google. If you are not honest in your consultation, you will actually falter at that step only. The problem in Indian setups, again, my target group against small to medium level setups. I'm not talking about the bigger setups because they have their own system of working, right from reception to associate checking to other systems. Yes, there are. But the problem lies in the smaller to medium setups itself, because there the onus or the focus is only on the patient entering in, just talking out, make the advance, get the advance from the patient, start the treatment, bypassing all the norms in majority small to medium clinics. And I'm afraid to say that is the problem which most of us face. I'll give you a very short example that happened actually 2 days back, right after the webinar I took on finance. I just made a note of it. I'll detail you when the time comes. So don't actually say make all the permutations and combinations. The patient once comes to you, do not make any assumptions without any investigations. You might need an OPG, you might need a CBCT, you might need other blood parameters done. So don't go on just lifting up the calculator first. You have to get to the basics of the problem first. Your brain should be quick thinking and your focus should be only on that patient. It should not be wandering between the one sitting in the waiting and the one sitting on the other chair. That is where you ought to make a mistake. And then people say we work on appointment basis. If you work on appointment basis, at a time you should be attending to only one patient. Maybe probably you might be having other patients in your clinic who your associates might be attending to, your wife or your spouse might be attending to. But yes, if you are treating one patient, your focus should be on that patient. Because once you give patient multiple options, the say crowded mind will actually lose its ability to accept treatment. So वो जो marketing adage है ना, if you can't convince, confuse, that will not work in this situation. So you need to understand that, because everyone will have each one of us will have unique style of communication. Some are not very say outward speaking or say extroverts. They are very introvert. They'll keep many things to themselves. You might be surprised to know that I'm a big introvert. I hardly tell anyone anything. I keep my problems to myself. But when it comes to clinic, I'm absolutely the reverse. Sometimes my family member says सारे वर्ड तू जिंदगी के सारे दिन में क्लिनिक में खत्म कराता है, घर आके तू बोलता ही नहीं है कुछ भी. Anyways, that is a personality trait. But a person need not be what he is in individual life, need be in clinic. I used to be a lot impatient. Those who have worked with me in initial phase, Dr. Navjot, Dr. Rajan, my friends, they tell me, uh, obviously being young, I had a few shortcomings in that sense. I was very impatient, hardly wanted to wait. But when it came to tooth extraction, I was the most patient of them all. There any surgical tooth case, any case, I used to take even sometimes 1.5 hour and without flinch eyebrow over that. But then this is a personality trait that came naturally to me. But if it does not come naturally to you, you need to adapt yourself to your clinic surroundings, because clinic is one thing, or your workplace is one thing which demands oodles of patients. There might be angry patients, there might be dissatisfied patients, there might be anxious patients, there might be say patients who are blabbering too much, there might be patients who might be say not in a mood to open up even. So you need to find a way to get into their brain so that they spill out their problems. And once they start spilling out the problems, you have to decipher them, how you can best say use your skills, not only dental but other skills, to come out with a solution. unless the patient speaks up or you listen. Both the things are actually say contradictory in that sense. The patient needs to speak, but you need to also listen as well, because a consultation is the one which sets the base for your long-term patient retention. Trust me, you might find it hard to believe, but this is one thing which has reaped me dividends, and I will not mince any words in saying that this actually holds the key to your clinic's long-term success as well. So whenever you are going to talk to the patient, you need to assess the patient's condition. Of course, that is the prime thing we all do. We all say take a note of the problem, but yes, as I said, you can make a mental note at least, maybe then follow it up with a physical record in your record keeping of the other problems existing. Then the history part, which many us miss. We discussed just the medical history yesterday only about how the antibiotics need to be given, and that is the thing I've been following since almost 15 years now. I had heard in a lecture only, a physical lecture around again 15-16 years back only, always in a medical lecture, not in a dental lecture, that always start a new medicine in the morning when you are not sure. And that fitted into my system. I never do that unless the patient has been a known user of that drug. And medicine will never mean only a painkiller. It only a antibiotic. It'll comprise of all the drugs. A daytime reaction is better, say, adjusted and adapted to by the patient, if at all it happens. You need to tell, even if the patient is has come to just for the medicine purpose, even if it's a हमको आज दवाई दे दो, maybe you know that the patient can afford it. Again, my target group here is again small to medium time clinics. In the bigger clinics, these things might rarely happen. But in these clinics, when the patient comes and is asked just "Yeah, दवाई दे दो," you know it that the patient can very well afford the treatment. Then also play your card safe, as I detailed out yesterday in the group. You need to tell the range of the symptoms which can happen. I always tell the patient in a simple language, allergy is not always skin rashes. It can be mild, moderate, severe, very severe. So the mild can be just a itching as well, as I detailed yesterday. And the severest form we all know can be the severe body rashes or whatever. You need to understand that the patient knows this thing, that his immune system, his or her immune system, is responsible for the response to the drug and not your pen or your mind. You need to put that across very clearly to the patient, because I have faced failures in my life when patients have said दवाई तो आप दे नहीं सकते हो, तो आप ट्रीटमेंट क्या करोगे ढंग से, as I detailed it. And trust me, पेशेंट आगे नहीं बोलता है, पेशेंट का कोई ना कोई रिलेटिव से किसी न किसी information से I've got through that. But yes, this is a learning curve for every one of us. I learned pretty early, and I try to pass across every such instruction to the patient myself. Yes, my staff had been trained in that part, but no, I prefer to give the post-operative instructions and the initial instructions myself. Then you ought to understand the patient psychology, whether the patient is in for a second opinion, third opinion, whether the patient is trying his luck with the MLC with you, medical legal case. Sometimes people will ask you to write something against a colleague. People do that always. And whether the patient is just about say दवाई से ठीक होने वाला patient कि मैं दवाई ले लूंगा बस ठीक हो जाएगा दब जाएगा. You need to understand जितना वो बोलेगा उतना आप assess करेंगे. But the only thing is your focus should be there on the patient, what he is speaking. Do not interrupt in between. Have say space between your ears. You need to gauge that. Then the patient expectations. The patient might be a referral patient. That is why I always say, say two things you need to remember: the patient's socioeconomic background and the patient's source of referral. These are two things you ought to give a space in your record book as well, and you maybe ask them casually as well. And sometimes patient will tell the same to you as well, that yes, we came via this reference. So the reference will tell you what kind of patient who has given the reference is. So the expectations accordingly. The case, if you remember what was the case from whom the reference has come, what did you do in that case, how high did you set the bar of say success or expectation in that patient, will actually decide that what are you going to come up with. So these are the sort of expectations you need to make a mental note, and these same things go in your record keeping as well in the special comment section. If you find something extraordinary about the patient, that the patient wants something extraordinary. The patient reacts in a different way. The patient is apprehensive. The patient is anxious. Whatever things you can say, you come to know or you might notice, put in a note so that even if you are not treating that patient, somehow someday your spouse might be doing it, someday your associate might be doing it, so that they can read the record keeping and get back to that. Then what is the actual say, how will you pass on the information is actually very important. Sometimes the patient might not be very interested in technical jargon. As I do the finance thing with you, see, I know finance in those languages which sometimes might not be able to decipherable by many of you. But I try to come down to the level of a basic simple saying so that you all understand this thing in a very simple language. Remember, the patient is also a novice in this regard, or you can say illiterate in technical jargon. They might be knowing about a couple of terms, but overall they are not aware of many of the terms. So you have to decided what kind of say aspects you need to disclose to the patient and in what manner, and of course in a very simplistic language. So whenever you have a say consultation query, you can have the 5 key points always, which can be say the center point of the consultation say paradigm. And whether the patient asks or not, it will be always in patient's mind. Not any particular sequence, but these are the 5 points: the before and the after paradigm, the pain phenomenon, पेन कितना होगा, पैसे कितने लगेंगे, टाइम कितना लगेगा, चलेगा कितनी देर, the commonest Indian queries which we all know. And the trickiest questions are always number 3 and 5. पैसे कितने लगेंगे, चलेगा कितनी देर. Then comes the pain कितना होगा, number 2. Again, not in any sequence, but in usually say a middle class scenario, you always find 3, 5, and 2 in that sequence. So you need to understand that anxiety might be related to the number 2. So you need to be extra cautious sometimes. Uh, the money, of course, is a big concern for everyone. The longevity as well. So there is nothing wrong in that. So the onus is on you to actually answer these 5 questions. Because once you answer these 5 questions, these are the ones which are going to say set up the road for you, and these are the ones which will actually put in your impression to the patient. Be honest, but do not be too high-fi in that. If you try to be very say up smart or street smart and say visibility to the patient will actually detect these things, because these are the things. Once you do this consultation first properly, answer these 5 questions properly, then only the internal marketing aspects take over. What is in your clinic, what is the clinic decor, how is your staff, how is it synchronized, what is the color of your curtains, what is the color of your blinds, how are the chairs, did your clinic corner have any dust or not. These are the things which come later, but then the first aspects start from there only. And again, every patient should know the expectation part. The before and after is equally important for you. You need to understand the before and after will have all the patient expectations phenomenon hidden in that. Unless you clearly decipher out or clearly lay out to the patient that yes, these are the things which are going to be the outcome, the patients should be very clear. Again, this is what we always say in when we talk about the consent part, that both of us, means the doctor and the patient, agreed to understand the same thing in the same sense. That is the basic terminology we use in consent, that the patient wanted this, the doctor explained this, both are on the same page. So these are the things you need to understand. The patients might be expecting something out of the world. It is you who have to clear out the expectations at the first step, not at the last step. Again, if the again under promise or over delivery part comes in, if you over promise and under deliver, you are sure to have payment woes at the end. And even if you get an advance payment before the second or the third last sitting, you need to understand that yes, the patient is not going to be retained for long. And once he's not retained for long, that road is crossed for any kind of referrals in future. So this is one thing again you need to understand very clearly. So the patients sometimes initially, when they come for those 5 points, as I said again, whether they ask or not, they are actually bothered about the end, the before and the after, the end part. How you take the road, you do a rotary root canal or you do a manual root canal, they're not interested in that initially. But yes, as the confidence develops between the two of you, the equation gets better. Again, I'm talking about the new patient part. Those things will be again coming. डॉक्टर आप कैसे करोगे, उसमें पेन तो नहीं होगा. Similar sort of branches of that queries might develop as well. So always try to discuss the healing, surgical risk, materials, possible options, uh, always at a later stage when the patient has agreed upon to the treatment and wants further details. There are certain aspects which you should not be discussing or disclosing openly in the start, because the patient does not need them. The patient is interested in these five things only. You need to understand this part. मैं एंड में मेरा मुंह कैसा दिखेगा, स्पेशली इफ इट इज एन इंटीरियर, पेन होगा कि नहीं होगा, पैसे कितने लगेंगे, टाइम कितना लगेगा, चलेगा कितनी देर, वो किस रास्ते से आपने किया, किसने किया, those things are not initially important. You need to understand that. And you need to judge from the patient expectations only, that whether he wants to get the treatment done from you only, or of course associate or a consultant or a visiting, whatever options or systems you have. So the focus can be because on that first consideration, because the patient knows that if I have been promised a certain outcome, the roads traveled might be different from the one he or she had assumed or gotten the information from Dr. Google. Google might give a different mode, or a YouTube video might give a different mode from what you are doing. If the outcome is more than satisfactory for the patient does not mind the route taken by you. Yes, of course, it should be pain free. And it should be, of course, within the price range that you have given initially. So in actual dentistry, also we call this process as backward planning, where you actually promise the end result and then you go backwards towards the process कि हम इस तरीके करेंगे. Of course, as I said, pain should be eliminated from that. This is a process. This consultation is like a, say, a play. It happens in various cities. You actually do the same play over the period of years, over the period of weeks, years, months together. There are many, say, Marathi plays. There are many, say, Hindi plays also organized in various theaters of India. They are doing for 12 years, 15 years. So they're doing the same thing again and again, over and over and again. So first consultation should be part of your system. But again, not like a, say, Paresh Rawal of Judai with a question mark on your head, always asking a question and just for the sake of information assimilation and not for information processing. So you need to know that all these things have to be conveyed to the patient. Sometimes the patient's case might be demanding, might be a challenging one, but if it is within the patient's knowledge that what is going to happen, you need to be really sure that you conveyed everything to the patient. So all obstacles, complications, and risks to treatment should be ignored during initial conversation and discussed later on at the time of consent signing. Again, this is one step which majority of the clinics bypass. They don't actually go in for consent. So you need to make sure that everything is verbally done, and wherever the cases are such, you need to do the written part as well. And the word is informed consent. It is not actually consent. So the patient needs to be verbally told as well, explained as well, and in the written, the same thing is there. The consent form should be as simple as possible. So do not bypass that. Then the time frame when you give to the patient, I'm discussing those 5 points only. So from the treatment from beginning to end. So here the one line I use: know yourself, know your patient. Then how you go about that task. So know yourself means you know how much time you are going to take in a setting, or maybe if you're not doing everything, how much your associate or consultant is going to take. So give a range, and the treatment should fall in that range, time wise also, cost wise also, of course. And make sure that pain factor is also taken care of very handsomely, because pain factor goes a long way in building up your rapport. Trust me, people choose a dentist sometimes because of pain, because of pain or pain free experience or painless experience. They actually these things matter a lot. course, it is not only one thing. As I always say, it is not dependent upon that one phenomenon. It is a combination of the services which you offer. A different combination might work in different people. The cost, the pain, and the time might work in one. The before and after, your way of working, your synchronization and pain might work in another. So it can be a different combination of different patients. So the bottom line aim should be to improve patient experience, and that starts from the first step. When once you know that you are going to complete that task in how many days, how many say how much time frame, then only the patient is going to, they appreciate you that you actually know your job well. The all aspects of the treatment boil down to these this last point, that he knows his job well, and in that the pain also is covered, the time is also covered, the cost part is also covered, the treatment results or those things are also covered, and the fifth aspect is also covered. So you need to understand that the patient experience is not only by sitting in the waiting, not only by the treatment you are doing on the chair, but it is a combination of all such aspects. And before getting to that chair, you need to understand that the way is through the consultation process only. How effectively you do the consultation, that is going to actually decide whether the patient goes out of the clinic or goes to your dental chair, because that is the only thing. Then always, if you're not really sure of yourself in some cases, you can give a slightly higher time frame, because sometimes the patient's healing might not be as expected. The patient's say your maybe consultant's visits can be say muddled up in between. So you need to really understand that part. So number three is usually the first question. We all discussed what was the number three part, the money part, cost part. In say small to medium clinics, or say lower to middle class, money always take the precedence over any other thing, which usually say decides sometimes the treatment. And the problem comes in those parts also. You have to actually give the details of the payment stepwise, or lump sum, or whatever way you are working. The thing is, you decide the system and not the patient. As I've given an example many a times, let's suppose you chalk out a treatment plan for your patient. You have done everything, the paperwork is done, the consent part is done. Now you chalk out a schedule. The day one, I'm going to do a root canal. And let's suppose you charge 2000 for a root canal. You give the patient day one, date this, time this, you're going to pay 2500. Day two, I'm going to do extraction. Day two is the working day, not exactly the next day. You're going to do, let's suppose you charge 500 for an extraction, you're charging 1000. So every step you're charging about 20 to 25% extra. That is your way of working. And but the only thing is the patient should be aware of this thing, that you have conveyed this thing, yes, आपने इस स्टेप पे इतना पे करना है. वो नहीं होना चाहिए कि आज आपने रूट कनाल किया है तो आप उसका 2000 चार्ज करते हो, तो आप उसका 2500 क्यों ले रहे हो. That is not the point to be discussed in between the treatment. These things should be cleared at the first step, because this is one shortcut to avoid payment woes at the end. There will be many a times when in multiple settings the patient will miss the payments. Oh sorry, आज मेरा पर्स घर रह गया, आज मैं डालना भूल गया, आज मैं रास्ते में पेमेंट देके आनी थी. There will be n sort of excuses, but that should not stop you from the treatment in that setting or even the next setting. Give the benefit of doubt to your patient at least once, maybe twice also. Tell the patient that, okay, no problem, you haven't brought the payment today. Next time we are due for this procedure, as we have decided, you will be paying 3000 for this. So you're 2000 for today. So please bring 5000 in the next setting. If the patient does not bring 5000 next time or brings a partial payment, then you ought to say ponder a bit. Then you ought to understand. If this happens again for the third time, then you need to very clearly convey to the patient rather than making shortcuts. I've seen colleagues, आज patient पैसे नहीं लाया, आज root canal obturate नहीं करने, आज सिर्फ dressing करके भेज दो. This should not be actually part of your procedure. If the patient knows that you are playing smart, he's more smarter than you in some sense. So don't do that. While working, your focus should be only on your work and not only the pay, not only on the payment part. And that is why I always say you should be on the same page from the start. And from the start, you can be only on same page if you've talked word to word, face to face, and in depth and in detail. So again, as I mentioned, the patients should not be overwhelmed with a lot of information. They should be, unless they ask for it. If they're interested, if they ask for it, yes, go on giving any sort of details in your consultation process. No harm in that. But as I said, don't initially bombard your patient with such kind of information. So, as I said, the information should be, or the consultation should be deliberate, organized, and structured. And other aspects should be deferred unless the patient's queries have been addressed to. Obviously, when the patient has come to you for consultation, the cost factor will come. At that point of time, be very clear whether it is your relative, whether it is your known patient, and whatever way you want to proceed. You're charging 10,000 and you give, let's say, 20% discount to your relatives or known people. Mention it very clearly. The treatment costs this, and we, as a policy of our clinic, we are giving 20% discount to all such category of patient. So your charges will be 8,000. Do not get into that psychological setup. कोई नहीं, कोई नहीं, आप बैठो, बाद में end में कर लेंगे. This is the thing. You should be very clear. The patient should be very clear. We actually try to, not in a wrong way, we try to trap the patient in the price basket, and that is where the problem comes in the end. कोई नहीं, आप बैठो, कर लेंगे. And in the end, the patient asks for it. आपने इतने बताए भी नहीं शुरू में. मेरे को तो लगा इतने होते होंगे. मैंने तो वहां पे भी पढ़ा था, वो तो इतने लेते हैं. मैंने पहले करवाया था, वो इतने लेते हैं. So those all sort of things can be avoided very clearly if you are very clear at the start. Because if you don't do that, you are digging a trap. That patient again, if the patient is say not very happy with the, say, treatment or the charging part, then we need to understand again that patient will not be retained. तो सिर्फ उस 8-10 हज़ार के लिए वी आर ट्राइंग टू ट्रैप, कोई बात नहीं, बैठो, हम कर लेंगे. व्हाई आर यू नॉट क्लियर इन द फर्स्ट सिटिंग? दैट इज माय एम. वी जस्ट वांट कि ट्रीटमेंट स्टार्ट कर दें, फिर तो करवाना ही पड़ेगा. So this is not the way to go. The patient should, again, the commonest marketing line, the consumer should have the good idea of what he is purchasing at what cost. So your patient should also know what are the services, and the patient has no right to actually challenge you that yes, I am going to say pay you for this. The market price is this. There should be no debates over such things, because if you determine the value via your treatment, these questions will not be there at the end. And then the problem comes when the patient start bargaining in the first consultation, or say the cost discussion when it happens. People actually try to then give up the itemized cost. ये चलो 2,000 का ट्रीटमेंट था, चलो आपको मैं इसके 1,800 लगा लूंगा. Don't ever do that. Don't ever do that. Always make a, say, rough estimate yourself, covering for all the things. As I have given a previous example many a times, let's suppose your treatment comes out to around 23,000. Give the patient an estimate of 25,000 plus minus 10%. That is the way I do. What we do sometimes is 23 बना, 20 के आसपास लग जाएगा. The patient पक्का इतना ही लगेगा. In the end, something core turns into a post and core, say metal crown turns into a PFM. The cost is in say enhanced. Who is going to pay for that? Of course, you will say the patient is going to pay for that. But then, have you told the patient before? Have you taken the prior consent for it, or have you informed the patient? We just sometimes say, ये आपका ये काम बढ़ गया, अब आपके इसके थोड़ा खर्चा बढ़ जाएगा. Even at that stage in the middle of the treatment, we don't make it clear. Now, why I say this thing is 23 hai, I am saying 25 minus plus minus 10%. Plus 10% means 2,500. So my estimate is up to 27,500. If at the end of the treatment my estimate is correct and I charge patient 24,000, the patient will not mind. He'll be happy कि डॉक्टर ने जो एस्टिमेट दिया था उससे कम में किया. प्रॉब्लम सिर्फ यही आती है कि जब हम 25 वाला या 23 वाला ट्रीटमेंट जो बाद में 27-28 बन जाता है, हमने पहले 20 बोला पेशेंट को, एंड वी एट द एंड से 28,000 हो गई कॉस्ट आपकी. द पेशेंट विल एज्यूम 28 टू बी 30. आपने तो 1.5 गुना चार्जेस बढ़ा दिए. दिस इज नॉट डन. जितना आप बोलते उससे 1.5 गुना थोड़ा होता है. ठीक है, 2-4 हज़ार ऊपर नीचे हो जाता है. Remember that 28 to 30 gap is just bridged by the patient himself. So you need to understand that, you need to be clear. जो आपको 20 दे सकता है ट्रीटमेंट के, वो 25 भी दे देगा. जो 20 नहीं दे सकता, वो आपको 5 भी नहीं देगा. In that sense. So you need not be worried about those 3 or 5,000. We actually sometimes very hesitant to disclose the total cost. Then when it comes to over the cost, over the table breakup of those things, then people start वहां से करवाया था, वहां तो 2000 में होता है, 2000 में तो मैं भी कर सकता हूँ, इसमें क्या है, 1900 में कर दूंगा. People try to do bargaining at that step. अगर if you are on the table judging the patient's psychology, don't you think the patient is judging too? That this guy is prone to bargaining. I can twist and turn now also and at the end also. And that is where we actually are digging a grave for ourselves. सारी problems start यहीं से होती हैं, because we convey our mindset कि we are afraid of our neighbor charging more. Why? Why? Your 5 fingers are not same in size. Why do you compare your neighbor? What he's offering you can't offer, or what you are offering he can't offer. Even if you're offering the same thing, it cannot be the same in the outcome. The hands are different, the skill set is different, the value is different, the internal marketing is different. So why do we need to compare? We all are unique individuals. We need to understand this part. We don't sell products. You need to understand. A Harvard professor, I've mentioned this line many a times. Products are consumed, services are experienced. We offer services. We do not sell products. And those are not consumables. Remember this thing. Services are experienced by the value we create, by the treatment we offer, again, by with the set of or a host of other factors, which I call as internal marketing factors. I've taken webinars on that very time, so I'm not going to go into details of those. So again, from the medical legal point of view, always avoid giving a detailed treatment plan with charges on your pad in the first sitting. The patient might be say asking for say wanting to have a written something from you against a colleague. If somebody wants it, people sometimes try their luck. They said मैं पेपर पे दे देता हूँ. नहीं नहीं, आप पैड पे दो. पेपर पे दे दो कि पेपर आपको एस्टिमेट ही चाहिए, तो पैड पे लेने में और उसमें लेने में क्या डिफरेंस है? You should try and sense and say smell medical legal troubles in that. Not against you, of course, but against a fellow colleague. So you need to understand that. Then when all the mutually agreed upon terms have been met, the payment has been paid, you need to understand you can give a written treatment plan. It is the right of the patient as well. So no harm in that as well. So you can again understand the word line. I'll repeat that what we use in consent. Both the patient and the doctor have agreed upon the same thing in the same sense. जो मैंने समझाया आपने उसी चीज को समझा. मैंने आपको गोल दिखाया, आपने उसको मून समझ लिया, वो आपकी गलती नहीं है पेशेंट की. बट दिस इज नॉट टू बी डन एट द एंड. यू हैव टू बी वेरी क्लियर at the start. And both the things should be very crystal clear. So ultimate outcome of treatment is not say individual parts, but the total result or the total value we create. So sometimes patients will be asked for detailed breakup. They have the right to give that. And if your neighbor is charging, let's suppose 1,000 for a root canal, and you are charging 4,000 for a root canal, you should not be having any debate over it at the end of the treatment if you have given that. At this point of time, that is the reason I always mention that the consent form should have the cost also included in that. It should be customized always. So that is going to say be there always, and the patient knows that he is signed on the contract. It becomes a contract like a patient for the patient, especially if the witnesses are there on it. So you need to understand the patient benefits which the patient is going to draw from what you are offering. If you are doing a zirconia from at a prevalent minimum basic price of 12,000, you are doing it 7,000. The patient is not going to flaunt it for 7,000. He's going to flaunt it for 15,000. It is you who are at loss. It is you who have cut corners, or it is you who have say decreased your income. The patient is not going to flaunt for lesser point. Everyone is very well informed. Uh, need to understand that. So a few tips in consultation. Again, these are say harbingers for patient satisfaction as well. Listen very carefully, be responsive, understand the needs and the expectations of your patients, and that only will come if you pay a patient ear to that. And work on your brand image, encourage patient feedback, learn from your mistakes, whatever feedback, take the feedback on your chin, as they say in Australian language. So measure and improve all those things. So people actually, sometimes I've seen myself colleagues behaving like shopkeepers and selling treatments. Don't do that. We are in a dignified profession. Uh, Even the payment mode options can be presented in a different discussion type. But most of the payment problems can be actually dissipated in the first step only if the communication is very clear. We all talk of communication, communication. The communication is I speak, you listen, you speak, I listen. That is the bottom line, one line, if I have to decipher what is communication actually. So those things have to be very clear to the patient, and you can actually get rid of your payment problems in the end. And then many patients actually jump onto the treatment, bypassing all those medical history, drug history, lab tests, or any local anesthesia allergy testing, or any consent aspects. uh, if you are flouting the rules yourself, you are no one to blame except for say yourself, nothing else. So at this point, I just, as I mentioned, the example of a colleague. Of course, I didn't know that colleague. 48 hours back, at the same time, I was taking a webinar. So I got a call from Mumbai. Won't mention the area. Was a reference from someone I know. He said he had been calling me frenetically during the session. There were about 5 or 6 missed calls. So after the session, I told him, said, I want to talk to you urgently something. Okay, go ahead. So once he talked, just listen to what he said. Said, we did a crown for a patient. The crown fractured. So we told the patient that we need to remove the root. We started removing the root, but we could remove only one root. The patient said, okay, कोई बात नहीं, आप बीच में छोड़ दो. Many things which you might not believe as well. Said, okay. Next, the patient said, इस पे bridge दे दो. Said, we went ahead with the bridge, and we gave them a bridge over the retained route only. Then I gave the bridge in March 2020, just before the lockdown. And in January 2021, the bridge also fractured. Okay. So the patient didn't pay me full at that point of time. Uska thoda amount pending hai. And the patient is now calling me up, and he's now shifted to Delhi. The patient is calling me up and he's saying कि मैं आपको consumer court में ले जाऊंगा. I've told him, dear sir, you are mistaken. The ruling has come. We are not counted. We are not covered under consumer court now. So tell me, sir, what should I do? I don't want to get any kind of trouble. Now, what is the documentation you have with yourself? Sir, I have all the documentation with me. Like, sir, I have mentioned everything in my record. Is it in a digital format or a manual format? Sir, in my register, I have written everything. Okay, where are the consent forms? सर मेरे पास प्रैक्टो है लेकिन मैंने साइन नहीं लिया. मैंने प्रैक्टो में उसमें रिकॉर्ड में भी नहीं डाला, मैंने मैनुअल में सब डाला हुआ. व्हाट आर द रिकॉर्ड्स यू टॉकिंग? सर रजिस्टर में एंट्री है सारी. So I said, see, one thing I can advise you, I normally don't advise this thing. Everything is against you. What does the patient want now? The patient says, यहाँ से मैंने रूट निकलवाई है और अब मेरा नया ब्रिज जो लगेगा, you are going to sponsor that, and I'm going to get a zirconia bridge, and the patient is wanting 35,000 from me. What should I do? So I'll ask the answer from all of you at the end of this session. So this is one short example which people do, and he's from a very good location in Mumbai. Again, Mumbai is a big city, so I can take advantage and not mention the exact location, but otherwise it will be wrong on my part. So all consultation should be completed before touching the patient. Of course, don't count the checkup and any investigations in that, but all consultation should be done before putting the patient on the chair for any kind of treatment. The only thing is, इसके बाद जो होगा वो आपकी recorded tape, the rehearsed play, as I said, my clinic, my rules apply, all the terms and conditions, all the policies and documents of your clinic, all the ways of working of your clinic should be told to the patient. Why do we expect that the patient will know your way of working? He can't say suppose the same things or assume those things. We need to make it clear. We work on appointment basis. Kindly don't be late. If you miss your appointment, kindly call us. If you can't make it that day, please call us. If you are getting late by any reason, please call us because we might have another patient scheduled up. You need to pay on time. You need to bring someone to sign your consent form. All these things should be conveyed. It is अगर आपके पास एक फ्रेमवर्क पॉलिसी फ्रेमवर्क या सारा शेड्यूलिंग बना होगा या आपका सिस्टम एक बना होगा, दैट इज द ओनली वे यू कैन कन्वे टू योर पेशेंट्स. Because unless you convey to your patients, you are not going to say get your first consultation completed in every case. And trust me, first consultation is not going to take long in all cases. It is the sequence or the process which is actually say important in lengthy cases, and in such cases only the maximum amount of money the clinic earns as well. In shorter cases, shorter consultation for a say normal class and filling, you're not going to go into too much details of those 5 points. They are the basic things which you can talk while the patient is sitting on the chair itself. The communication can take place also at that point. It is not that it is going to take place only across the normal table and chair in your practice. You need to understand that time. And this is the best time. This is the best time you can remove all the misconceptions and misinterpretations on your part. With dental treatment also, as I mentioned about medication also, that the immune system is responsible, not the dentist, if you have any allergy to it. So you need to know that you can only clear these things uh, at the first step only, and here the ball is in your court. You have all the say aces up your sleeve. You can open up your cards at your will. Once the treatment happens, and any say extraordinary or say any wrong kind of reaction or wrong kind of result happens, we try to justify is that, and the patient is obviously going to say it, ab ho gaya hai, so you're trying to cover up for it. Then the second opinion, third opinion, Google opinion, all those things start. So if you, the patient conveys, is conveyed of this thing that let's, for example, after an extraction, you can have bleeding if you don't maintain instructions. If you sleep on this side, you give us a hot pack on this side, you're going to have swelling. So all those things, if you are not conveying to the patient properly, the patient is not going to assume or suppose those. So always schedule proper consultation for long cases, for medium to long even. So rather than giving fragmented information, आप इधर एक चेयर बैठा है पेशेंट, दूसरी चेयर पे आप घूम रहे हो, बातें कर रहे हो, the patient does not understand that. The patient needs to know very clearly and never push the treatment to the patient. If the patient is hell bent upon the logic कि मेरी दवाई खाने से जब दर्द ठीक होएगा तभी मैं ट्रीटमेंट शुरू कराऊंगा, it is your wish. You want to go it this way, but we start the treatment after this much amount of medication. Let's suppose whatever the procedure is or whatever you system you follow, we start after this. If you want to go that way, it is your choice. But then the medicine is not going to relieve you of the pain completely. That is a strong possibility. But if you still want to go this ways, you are free to go that way. So unless you convey this to your patient prior, then it is not going to create trouble for you later on. So again, listening properly again is as important as conveying your rules. The communication skill set has to be very specific. Do not say indulge in the I, me, and myself syndrome. That we have done so many cases, we are so much expert in this that we can do this much, that much. Whatever things you have in your mind, you need to understand that these things have to be very clearly and very specifically told to the patient. And it is a big, say, factor in retention as well. I hope you are not sleepy. I'm just coming to the end of the presentation. So, what exactly a dentist should have? A firm intellectual base. You should be well read, well educated, effective communication skills, in spite of the fact you might be introvert in your life, knowledge of all aspects of medical history and drug history. I've discussed this twice in 2019 and 2020 paid group, very in a very detailed manner. Then consent part, then the ability to solve the chief complaint. You'll be known as a better dentist if you are able to solve the patient's chief complaint very quickly. And that chief complaint is not always solved by medicines. It is done by treatment only. So these are the 5 essential components of a better clinician, and this will cover most of the parts, most of your problems. The only thing is the basic to all this is communication. The consultation will come at that point only, and the patient satisfaction measures will come later on. The wait was too long, the provider really listened, hardly listened, then the examination room was not very clean. So these things do come as a factor later on, but yes, you need to understand that patients absorb the overall experience. The consultation is a say paradigm which creates a road for you. The rest have to be as say na relay race hai. The first step is consultation. The rest part is taken by your treatment, by your internal marketing thing, by your staff, by the way of your working, by the way of your communication, by your follow up, of course, in the end. And those are like relay race में एक भी अगर गिर जाएगा तो you know that what is going to happen. You'll be disqualified. So that is going to happen. So having experience only does help as well, but other skills will act as I mentioned, those 5 skills will act as a cherry on the top of the cake, and without which the knowledge, skill, and efforts can sometimes be superfluous. I know of people who have excellent communication skills, not very skilled otherwise compared to the other colleagues, but they are having massive practice compared to those colleagues who are highly skilled. Yes, luck does play a role, but you need to understand that these factors also are very much contributory in that. And first consultation is the first step to patient satisfaction. And why should it score as a top-notch priority for everyone, not only dentists, all healthcare personals? Because if you satisfy one, it reaches 4 new patients. If you dissatisfy one, reaches 10 potential patients. Negativity spreads faster. WhatsApp has also disabled by forwards by 5 to 5 forwards. That is the reason, because the negativity spreads pretty fast. So I hope I haven't been much preachy today. So coming up to the last section, as usual in all my presentations, the carry home gyan. So all the things of consideration, as I said, will boil down to one thing: communication. And there is a 4 pronged approach to that: planning, patience, perseverance, and permanency. And these 4 P's will determine the outcome of the dentist-patient relationship. So need to make certain goals, greet your patient by asking their name, and then introduce yourself and keep using the name in the first consultation. Or maybe you can use sir and ma'am, whatever you feel comfortable, or whatever the patient also feels comfortable. Understand the primary reason for the patient's visit to your clinic. As I said, you can have a look at the other scenarios, make a mental note of it, but do not go on disclosing those things unless the patient asks you, or if the patient is in distress, only the chief complaint should be addressed to in the primary communication or primary consultation with the dentist, with the patient. Sorry. So lending a patient ear without interrupting his response. Supporting environment right from the initial rep. So most treatment will have many options. So it is the patient's right as per law also to get all the options, as I mentioned about the 2007-8 Supreme Court ruling. So there are some procedures which are complex. We have to dissect the finer nuances so that the patient knows what problems might be lying ahead of him in terms of difficulty, in terms of speech, in terms of not being able to eat from one side, maybe any swelling associated with the treatment. You need to tell the patient prior or beforehand. And trust me, as I said, the first consultation is the best and the perfect time to eliminate all doubts about treatment, all doubts about medication, all doubts about yourself, all doubts about the payment part, all doubts about the terms and conditions, all about the policy conditions, whatever you follow in your treatment. You are the boss. You have the ace up your sleeve in the first part. Once the treatment starts, the cards are distributed all over, and one who gets the joker gets the key. So a satisfied customer is the best business strategy because he is the best practice builder out of all of us. Thank you so much. I've stuck today to my time of 1 hour, exactly 1 hour. So this is my contact. You all know of it. YouTube channel, social media presence, and please do send me your feedback. And that is one thing I always value in my clinic as well, and in all my sessions as well. It is up to you whether you want to give bouquets or big bags, whatever you do, it will be both welcome in equal measure. Thank you for your patience, and I stop my presentation for queries. And before the queries, I will like to have the answer to the Mumbai query. Any one of you, please feel free to speak.
Sir.
Yes, Rajat.
So based on my limited knowledge, despite the fact that we cannot be taken to consumer court anymore, everything uh, is going against the respected colleague as of now. And if in case there are two ways that it can affect his practice, one is the uh, word of mouth, the wrong negative reviews by the patient because he's been in Mumbai, so he probably knows a few people in Mumbai. So that is one thing that our respected colleague can lose upon new patients. Second thing, if this matter supposedly goes to civil court, he will end up losing the case because he has no proper documentation and he will end up giving a higher remuneration, the compensation. My suggestion would be if I am stuck in this case, I would pay whatever is demanded, but I will take it in writing that after this, the same scenario, the same case, nothing will be discussed online, offline. Patient is releasing me of all my responsibilities henceforth. A small tweak could be supposedly, I'm the Mumbai doctor, you're the Delhi doctor. I would want to try and find out a contact to you and speak to you and probably plead to you if you can reduce the charges and I can pay you directly, although you can give the zirconia bridge what the patient desires. That can be a small sideline tweak. These are my views.
Anyone else? No one has a different opinion? Please go ahead. Scratch your gray matter a bit. Okay. Exactly, Rajat. I gave the same advice that everything is against you. So please pay up. And the only thing you can try is call up the doctor. And if he can reduce some charges, exactly said the same words to him. Uh, but I was actually taken aback by the confidence of the Mumbai doctor. He was actually like that the patient is at mistake at every step. So I told him very clearly, sorry, dear colleague, you are actually faltering and you will end up paying in lakhs if the matter goes to court. And this is not a deficiency in service. This is clear case of negligence. And you are not a quack. You're giving a bridge over a retained route. You need to understand that. Even if the patient insisted, you can't go ahead with such a thing. Whatever, even if the patient give it to you in return, you are not going to. This is lame quackery, nothing else. You can't be absolved of this thing in any court, even if the patient gives you this thing in return. And many colleagues might not be knowing this aspect of medical negligence. So yes, the only thing is कि 35 का अगर आप दिल्ली वाले से कुछ reduce करवा सकते हो करवा लो. That is the only thing. So okay, got the slide. Yes, Dr. Rakesh, 35K if you can reduce. Yes, Dr. Sameer. So if the patient is come alone, do you take sign on the consent on the next appointment? Sir, for long cases, always, usually the first consultation involves a lot of investigation sometimes. Usually a basic OPG minimum is required. So the patient goes away, gets the bag, and then I say take some time from the patient once he hands over me the OPG. I do my own planning myself. I don't plan in front of the patient. I need to make a plan and I need to sleep over it. That is the way I do it. And unless I have that plan in written, I can't sleep over it as well. So whenever the patient gives me that CD, I analyze, calculate everything, write it down, sleep it over, and then I call the patient the next day if I'm happy with my plan, because I'm very clear in the sequence, in the procedure, because I've been doing this for many years now. So clear in the sequence, clear in the treatment procedure to be followed, and in what way, and of course the costing as well. The only thing I need to know is that what are the suitable patient timing so that I can allot him the patient suitable time. Yes, if any procedure involves some extraction or a surgical part, I need to make sure if the patient is coming for his remainder treatment in the evening, I need to make sure that surgical work step is done in the morning. So the patient, because I don't do any surgical work after 5 p.m. or 5:30 p.m. in my clinic. That has been the niyam since the past 21 years now, and I don't break that this thing. Anything surgical will be done in the morning, and the patient might be needing to take a leave for that. So I plan it in such a way, and of course convey to the patient that yes, we can keep it on a weekend kind of a thing, so that the patient gets time for healing also, and the patient doesn't have a problem taking a leave from the office as well. So these are the things, and of course, when you plan such things, the consultation itself takes 2 to 3 sittings, and in those cases, we pass on the information, and before we start, the consent part is signing. So usually, this is done in medium to long cases. So this is a part of that. So I don't make a shortcut in that. So learn the hard way importance of documentation by paying money and keep record of it. Professional indemnity might be key, Dr. Pratik, but the reputation loss is not covered by professional indemnity as well. It is a clear case of negligence. Yes, indemnity policy might cover for it, but even they sometimes might not cover for the, say, loss of consent part also. Some companies do arrange for your consent documents, but yes, without the patient signature, that is invalid at all, or a blanket consent which is not valid at all. But the reputation loss will never be covered, and we doctors live majority on reputation. So yes, the money aspect might be covered if you want. If you are correct, you might want to fight that long, hard battle. But if you are wrong on each and every step, your bridges are fracturing, your roots are fracturing, your everything is going wrong. So why are you blaming the patient only? Might be substandard work from your lab, or some delivery aspects at your end body you have delivered to the patient. There are surely mistakes. You should be fighting a battle where you are firm footed. If you are not firm footed, why do you want to fight a losing cause? That is the only concern of mine in this case. Yes, Dr. Madhavi, yes, the insurance company will pay. We don't drive a car without it. Why a business? So I detailed you. I think I just read this thing now, but I detailed it. The reputation loss is the important thing, and especially if it is a losing cause, it is always better to pay for that. So can you show the sequence you follow in the clinic during first appointment? I just told the sequence in the detail. I just shared it right now. So it is all starting from the point the patient. See, the system is settled by your appointment only. I shifted to full time practice after the birth of my daughter in April 2017. She was born on 23rd March 2007. So 1 month had a real hard time adjusting to a surge in OPD, which she brought with her birth in this world. And my OPD surged by 4 to 5 times instantly. So I had a hard time maintaining or managing that OPD. And once I shifted to April end or May 2007, I shifted to full time, say, appointment system. Ever since then, we even the referral cases come to me via appointment. Rather, this has been one of the strongest points and helped me a lot in COVID as well, when patients knew that I am going to see only on appointment. Yes, we do have occasional, say, walk-ins, and sometimes in the middle of a lengthy procedure as well. But that is the time we actually take the say help of the ASAP phenomenon by Margaret Sumpton, which I mentioned many times in the group as well. We acknowledge the patient upon arrival, and we tell the patient that it is going to take a certain amount of time. And if the patient, there is another long patient or a, say, small patient lined up after that, we request the patient to take some other time. But if the patient is from far off, we try to adjust the patient and at least give the basic consultation, and say send the patient for investigations, especially if it is a long case, and of course taking the excuse me from the running patient in between, so that the longer distance patient is also not hampered in a way. So this is the way. Once the patient comes to the clinic, the first thing he gets into the mind is that if I come on time, if I come within a prior appointment, I'm not going to wait in this clinic. And that has been my, say, ideal principle for the past 13 years plus now. And not that we don't see without appointment. Yes, sometimes we are not having that patients at that slot. If somebody walks in and has a small procedure, we do it there and then only. But it is not a thing which is, say, broken when the running patient is on. For me, the patient on the chair is more important than the one in the waiting. So that is the bottom line rule I follow. So I hope you got the answer. Anything you can not clear, you can feel free to ask. Dr. Raghu asks, how much time should I allot for a consultation? Always in scheduling, sir, considering minimum to maximum time. So minimum consultation 15 minutes, maximum 1 hour. So that is the time I usually take. 1 hour is sometimes even not crossed in many of the cases. depending upon the case size, depending upon the complexity of the case. See, the only thing is you have to be sure of yourself what you are going to do. If you convey it very handsomely, very clearly, very say specifically to the patient, the queries will be very limited. You already see these things in my presentations as well. Some of the questions are already covered in the presentation itself. So you should be actually try to sitting on the opposite side of your chair and try to judge what the patient is going to ask. This comes by again repeated role reversal or say role reversal and say complete rehearsal as well. You know that the patient is going to ask these questions, so those things should be already a part of your presentation or already a part of your communication what you're going to say to that. If the patient has been paying attention, he or she will get an automatic answer to that. But yes, you can always say, "Yeah, as I said," things once again. So it depends upon what is the procedure and what are the patient queries. Try to cover them your side first. So patient is asking for RBG IOPs, give it, no problems in that. The X-ray original, if it is an IOP film, the original belongs to you. The patient can have IOPA. Uh, you can get a duplicate one if you want to retain the original one with yourself. You can charge for that as well. There is no harm in that. But by law, the X-ray film, not the RBG, the X-ray film belongs to the dentist. So any sample informed consent that has shared many times. Okay, again, we'll be sharing that. But again, those things are to be customized as per your patient. You need to understand that. So I'm used to give print, but if anybody says it's not clear what to do, then you need to repeat the X-ray, nothing else. Make it slightly more exposure time, maybe increase the voltage and increase exposure time a bit, and get a clear X-ray on your RBG and give a printout of that fresh. It is always better to avoid certain things which can create, say, unnecessary problem in your clinic. These are small adjustments which you should not be say minding to make in your practice. These things should be a part of your protocol. We should have a separate consent form for every procedure. Yes, every procedure needs to have a customized consent form for every specific procedure. Blanket consents are not at all valid in the court. At time, patients don't even bother to read completely. So that is the reason I told you already. It is an informed consent. You have to verbally convey everything and then get the same in return. It is not a consent form. It is an informed consent form. Have seen this moreover with COVID. COVID consent was a different thing. We all knew that it was for a temporary short phase. Still, it is continuing in many clinics. But yes, we knew it is for a specific reason. You don't need to tell this thing to the patient in a long detail. COVID consent only has one line that you will not blame the dentist for if any say if the dentist or if the patient tracks any COVID-19 disease. So that was only a one line consent. Your treatments will not have a one line answer to other things. So is it okay to explain the terms, treatment options, and the protocols alone in the consultation table, and can the charges alone be explained in front desk for different options? It depends upon what way you want to work in your practice. In my clinic, I disclose such things. In various clinics, assistants and associates have been trained for such purpose. It is not a hard and fast thing. The only thing is the communication should be sent across to the patient. Whosoever does it in a meticulous way. I do it, associate does it, assistant does it. It does not matter at all. Yes, if the patient wants, he or she can confirm it, or your associate and assistant should be say told very clearly that you can confirm the same things from the principal dentist. That is you in your practice. So it does not matter who does it. Again, it is in my clinic, I do it. In Rajat's clinic, somebody else might be doing. In Dr. Samir's clinic, somebody else might be doing. So it is not a hard and fast rule. The only thing is communication should be sent across and very specifically and very clearly. Dr. Madhavi, sometimes patients takes longer consultation time, should be charged more than what we have printed on the display list. See, I have two such things for my clinic, the basic consultation and the case discussion. My case discussion is 3 times my consultation. You're free to do that. You're not free to do that. But yes, again, the patient should be told beforehand that the case discussion I have allotted to separate 1 hour, half an hour, whatever time you're allotting, and you'll be charging this much time for the case discussion based on your investigations or whatever, say, details you have gotten done. Again, you are free to charge or not charge for that. The important thing is the patient should know about that before the case discussion. That is very important for the patient. You can display even on your ATIS case discussion. It's no harder, no say harm in that. So I feel I've not done a great work at the end of my treatment, and the patient has found that out. How do I proceed at that point of time? See, you need to understand that what exactly is the definition of great work. That can vary. 1 mm short root canal cannot be a great work, not great work or a bad work. A broken or a separated instrument can also be example of that. So you need to be clear with what exactly is that. So some, or maybe you have not created that round sealer block at the end of the canal, which very people are fond of creating. So if you have filled the canal, but that blob is not created,
No,
you're
the
not happy with
aesthetic
that.
part, I mean, sir. That is the aesthetic part.
That
I'm
no, no,
happy. I was feeling like it would work out, but the patient is not happy.
so
Af-
you can always repeat it. If you know, if see, the best thing in your practice is to understand, accept. If you understand it is wrong, if you accept it is your mistake, repeat it. The problems can be nipped at the first step at without any cost. Just a little bit of material cost at your end, maybe a time part, but it can save you from a lot of hassle. So a lot of negative reviews, lot of other things which come free with it. See,
Satisfaction.
rather compound. No, no, no. That is a separate part. Satisfaction is from your end.
Yes,
But the patient's end will give you a negative review, a non-retentive patient, loss of refill. That will come free, compounded with it. So you need to understand a little bit of extra effort and extra material can solve the problem at the first step. Nip the evil in the bud, as they say always. So, Dr. Ajay, thank you so much. What to do with those patients who come in dental abscess without an appointment while we are doing another patient? I just mentioned, if the patient is an emergency, of course, and can't wait, and you can somehow slot some time between, take excuse me from your patient and give the say problematic patient some relief at least, so that at least if he or she has a history of already LA being injected, you can at least give him some LA so that he is relieved of his immediate troubles. And once he is in trouble, he will not be in a hurry to go back unless his problem is relieved. Then you can again shift to your original patient and complete the work satisfactorily, then go back to that problematic patient again. So no harm in that. If you, it'll actually say set you as an example that you are empathetic to all your patients. Somebody has walked in an emergency. That emergency can happen to anyone. Be communicative in this regard. Be vocal in this regard. Both the patients should know. The one in the chair should know that yes, someone is in distress, someone is in emergency. I'm going to just take a break of 2 to 5 minutes from you and just attend to that patient. And the one in the waiting should know that you are already in the middle of a busy schedule, but you're still taking out time for that. But asan nahi jatana hai. Yes, you do it. They should know it, but that should be the end of it. So, how to charge for the treatment for doctors who don't charge me for the consultation in their clinic? So, you can say convey those things I mentioned in the lecture itself. Whatever your clinic policy is, that suppose your 10,000 are the charges as per the clinic policy, we offer 20% discount to all the things. Uh, Everybody knows that dental treatment comes is expensive. It is not only based on consultation. It has a charge inherent to that. But again, if you insist koi nahi baitho end mein kar lenge, that is going to create problem for you. You will be very skeptical of doing your best कि पता नहीं end में payment आएगी कि नहीं आएगी, and he'll be skeptical कि पता नहीं end में कितना bill बना देगा. So why create an environment of discontentment in both of your brains? Always try to say go ahead on a cleaner, start on a cleaner slate, and be very clear and vocal about it. The patient is fully free to make a choice whether he or she wants you as a dentist or not. This is the thing you should be clear, and that is where we falter. We just don't want all OPD patients walking in to start. 100% conversion किसी का नहीं होता. So why do we want 100% of that? जो आया मेरी चेयर पे बैठ के जाए, ट्रीटमेंट करवा के जाए. Why do we want that? We shouldn't be wanting that. So an ideal acceptable conversion rate is 72%, 7.2 out of 10. If you're doing anything better than that, wonderful. If you're doing slightly lesser than that, probably that will be average. But yes, if it is much below 40% or 4 out of 10, then you need to seriously consider having a look at your consultation very clearly. But don't always expect 100. Even God is not perfect in that regard. We all say we are all humans after all. Okay, Dr. Madhavi. So, but you recommend having a displayed rate list for procedures. It is an individual choice. the DCI recommends you can place a digital list on your website so that the patient makes a informed, conscious decision whether to choose you or not. But you are under no bar to display or not to display. If the say that नाम भूल जाता हूँ एक्ट का वो आ जाएगा क्लिनिकल एस्टैब्लिशमेंट एक्ट सॉरी so then it is mandatory for all of us in that mode whatever it is. So Karnataka में तो already 12 साल से है. I know that 2007 or 8 it is already there. I have told many times in my MLE seminars. It was there in my exam in 2009 or 10 in National Law School Bangalore. It was there. पंजाब में अभी शायद इस साल लागू होना है 2021 में. I'm not really sure in the same version or not, but there, whatever the crude version is there, it will be there for One India, One Act very soon. It will be implemented. So great concept of case. Thank you. iPhone जी आप अपना नाम बदल लिया कि मुझे पता नहीं है आप अजय हो शायद आप. So thank you Dr. Bhavna. Due to customized consent, yes, payment woes have reduced. Thank you. Dr. Romika, if the patient is a complete rehabilitation case with multiple problems, but right now he comes with a particular problem, so do we discuss everything in the first consultation or once his chief complaint is solved, then spend time on it? Yes, I mentioned already, we need to address the chief complaint first, but as a part of our duty, do the IND, information and education, very clearly that I always say, tell the patient the cause. If somebody has, say, come to you with the say root canal in upper 7 or 8, the opposite tooth missing, tell the patient that the caries of the root canal is because of the supra eruption. That is the problem, but the cause is the opposite tooth which is missing. So you need to don't treat the problem always. Your problem will be solved after you get the treatment done from me, but what is important is that you treat the cause, and that is what matters to me in my practice. I make it very clearly that yes, this is the cause. Unless you get it treated, this problem is going to happen again, and the next time it might be silent. This time you had pain because and you got a root canal done. Next time the tooth might fracture itself, and the supra eruption will continue unless you solve that problem via implant or a bridge or whatever option you choose to. You need to understand and convey that very clear to the patient.
Actually, I just wanted to clear this, like that whatever you are saying is right. But if the problem is like right now not related to that problem, which
that
he
is
had,
okay. We address the chief complaint first and then do the IND part,
but
information
should
education.
we mention it that he has problem on the other side also on that problem? Should we mention it in the first visit or should we do
No.
it later?
After you address the chief complaint, after the patient is happy, after you treat the patient's chief complaint with the 3 E's, effectively, efficaciously, and efficiently, as I say. So these 3 E's are dealt with properly. Then when the patient is about to leave or in the last sitting, you can, as a well-wisher of the patient, convey that this all needs to be done and this might create a problem for you in future. That is the way you can go about the task. But once the patient is in chief complaint, walks in with a chief complaint, we need to address the chief complaint first.
So-
Sometimes, yes, Rajat.
So what we do is when we finish the treatment, the day that we are finishing the treatment, supposedly the patient has come with pain and we are doing the root canal, and we have seen multiple other problems as well. So after finishing the root canal, now when the patient has some faith in our treatment, has reasons to trust us, and is pain-free, now we enter everything that we have seen apart from the chief complaint in Form 3C. We sit with the patient, we show them, see all these things. It is my duty to inform you because I'm the specialist. If I don't tell you, then who else will? And then anyways, Form 3C, patient has to countersign. So now I have proof and I have informed everything in detail to the patient.
Absolutely.
I'm not doing it legally, but I was doing actually the same thing. I used to tell everything, but written part was not being done.
You surely need to mention that, say, enter into your records for future reference for sure, because there has to be one reference point of what the problem was at that particular time. Maybe the patient will come to you for another, say, after 1 year. So you have the reference point that yes, these were the problems which we noted, which we told you as well very clearly. We told you of the problems which it can cause you. See, now they are already there. So you need to tell very clearly those regards. So sometimes I get a complicated case like full mouth rehab with multiple rotated teeth and haphazardly placed teeth. how to manage consultation for such cases. In what regard you want? You got your answer. In what regard you want answer to this? I
So
mean,
the patient wants everything to be completed and wants an estimate for it, but to calculate and work out only, I need lot of people to put their heads in and their ideas also for that case. I'm not able to give them the
see,
plan.
the best filter in such cases is whether if you are not sure that the patient is really interested या सिर्फ estimate लेने ही आया है, the best case is to at least go for a basic investigation like a OPG, which roughly costs 600 to 700 rupees. If the patient gets it done, you get to know somehow that the patient is really interested in getting the treatment. If the patient is not getting the OPG done also, you can very well get an idea that the patient was just trying to say try his luck with you.
Sometimes they come with
Price.
the OPG, sir, and ask
They
you.
come with the OPG. Then you might be second or third reference, as I already told you.
Yeah.
You already got see the date of the Excel. Sometimes that folder has a name of a doctor also mentioned over there. The date will tell you many a thing. कि वो patient किस किस जगह पे कितनी बारी जा चुका है, तो बहुत कुछ पता लग जाता है. Just be observant a little more. As I said at the start, these things may become a little bit more natural to me by God gift, by birth, but we need to, as a clinician, we need to be more observant. Looking at the micro aspects is very important sometimes. Yes.
Hello, sir.
Yes, Dr. Sabyasachi.
Sir, I have basically two questions. First question is sometimes the patient does not reveal his medical history fully. What to do?
Like,
Sir, something, some medications they usually taken, or some drug allergy. If my question is basically if they sometimes don't reveal and some medical emergency or something aversive will happen, what will be the my counterpart?
see, आप पहली बार डरा मत करो इतना. दूसरी बात, the only thing you need to remember is, again, the observation part comes in. You ask the patient the question, if there is slurring of speech, moving or shaking of head, observe the body language. जो confident होगा सीधा जवाब देगा, नहीं कोई medicine नहीं चल रही. Medicine, the moment this
Yes,
thing comes,
yes.
you know that something is being concealed. Then you play the lawn tennis game. Throw the ball in others' court. Say, अगर आप पूरी तरह नहीं बताएंगे, अगर इस दवाई से कोई problem
Okay.
आएगी, you are going to face. मेरे को कोई problem नहीं आने
Okay.
वाली है. Even if you are going to have it, say it. मेरे को कोई problem नहीं है, आप फंसोगे, आप hospital पहुंचोगे. जो ऐसा को करे तो उसको उल्टी बॉल मारो. That is the only way you can actually extract information from such patients. Yes, Rajat.
If I may please add,
Sir,
Yeah,
one
here,
more.
guys, we have the practice management software. So in practice management software, we hand over the tablet to the patient, and my assistant is standing next to the patient while the patient is feeding the information. And we have a detailed column over there regarding a few medical problems, and then they can write or add if they have any more. And that is the point I have taught my assistant that we have to emphasize, sir, different medicines read. So if there is anything, please think about it, please enter. So that is the first point where they are scared. When we enter the room, so we see the entire history. And then we also, before starting any treatment, we say the same thing. Please think, please let us know if there is any new medicine that you have taken or you are taking, because my medicine can react and you will be in trouble.
Yes, exactly. But the only thing is, you need to convey Sabyasachi very clearly. Some people sometimes use these forms, even some use pre-printed forms as well. मेरे को समझ ही नहीं आया, इतना कुछ लिखा था, मैं तो confused हो गया, मैं ये हो गया. People will have different ways to do it. Yes, exactly. These are also done, but a vocal communication way is better. वो ना
Yes, sir.
कुछ चीजें हिंदुस्तान में डरा के ही चलती हैं, कुछ चीजें, especially when people are hell bent on say concealing their information. Such. Yes, हमने कोई आधार कार्ड पैन कार्ड नंबर थोड़ा मांग लिया, दवाई का मांग रहे हैं ना डिटेल, so there is nothing wrong in that. Yes,
And one more, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, I am sharing an experience with you. A young lady of around 35-year-old came to me. He had a caries in the lower left 7, and after as I have no RVG with my clinic, I have consulted with the patient, and I have advised her with the IOPX. And I had a brief with her about the RCT, what the treatment is and what the procedures I am following in my clinic. After the next visit, she came with the IOPA, and she had admitted to start with the RCT. And I had started the RCT, doing the access cavity and some preparation with that. And after the second appointment, but the first sitting with RCT is over, she left the clinic. But after half an hour, she back to the clinic with her husband. And according to her husband, the wife has not understand the total costing part, and now she is not ready to continue the treatment. And what to do in this situation? Actually, I am concerned about the treatment payment part. I have received some payment part.
I told in a query part only that your treatment cost, your consent form should mention the cost as well. Those are the things which actually will play a role. If you mention the cost in your consent itself, and along with a witness, and in usually a female's case, the witness would be husband. Most of the cases, so the both of them know it. They can't deny that, of course. Once and again, what are the contents of the consent form? If you're verbally conveying the same thing, ये भी नहीं हो सकता ना written में है. These are the things which are going to happen. This is the amount of sittings. These are the kind of side effects. These are the post-op follow-ups. These are the things which need to be done, and the total costing involved in this. And they read it and they sign it. Even if they don't read it, you have actually conveyed everything. Maybe you can pinpoint the finger at that point that this is the total cost you have to cover. So unless the documentation is clear on your part, you cannot pinpoint a finger at the patient. Patients will try all the tricks in the book, and we are usually left high and dry most of the time. But then it is high time that we actually mend our ways of working. I won't call that we are not working in the right way, but we are not working with the right protocol. And a protocol is always a must for a clinic. And that is what this first consultation session is for. Always be clear before you start. Both of you should be on the same page in the same sense. That is what is important. And why are we in a hurry to start the treatment? That thing is really beyond me. Really beyond me. You will get your due. जो किस्मत में वो मिलना ही मिलना है, वो चाहे 10 कोशिश कर लो. थोड़ा सा भगवान पे भरोसा रखो इस रिगार्ड में. But you cannot unnecessarily कि हर OPD आ जाए, हर एक को हम convert कर ले. Not pointing at you, but generally saying, all of us, we can't, जो भी आ जाए OPD सारी convert नहीं कर सकते हैं. So we need to understand that. Nothing wrong in it, but yes, always be very specific and very clear before the start, so that you don't have any of such appointment problems, say late coming problems, payment problems. All these can be conveyed. My game, my rules. अगर पहले convey किया तो बाद में problem क्यों आएगी? क्यों आएगी? Trust me, ये चीजें कई बार मैं सुनता हूँ. I feel या मैं गलत हूँ समझाने में, या लोग समझने में गलत हैं, या पता नहीं शायद हम कुछ गलत कर रहे हैं कि हमारे साथ ऐसा बहुत रेयर होता है. Trust me, very rarely these things happen in my setup, and not now, since many years now. The only thing is just adjusted my way of working long time back. Dr. Sandesh Maikar ने एक बात बोली थी 2003 में in a aesthetic lecture. Dentine should never be beyond 5 seconds. आज की डेट में अगर मैं टोटल एज टेक्निक यूज कर रहा हूँ, I make it a point, I never cross those 5 seconds. And trust me, मेरे को sensitivity की problem very rarely, maybe one case in 2 years. Every composite lecture there is one common question: sir, my composites have sensitivity. Problem कहाँ है? I don't know. या मैं गलत कर रहा हूँ या वो गलत कर रहे हैं, कुछ तो है ना. Just a small example to correlate to this. I'm not trying to boast in this case, but just telling you, we are not actually willing to learn unless we commit the mistake ourselves. दूसरों की गलती से सीखो. That is cheaper, much cheaper. Yes, any more queries? Rajat, would you like to add anything to today?
I would like to share an incident, sir. I had a patient for whom I did an emergency access opening because of an acute abscess in the upper anterior. I quoted at that point of time around 2,000 for root canal for that tooth, and the patient had left that day, and I had clearly explained that this would be the cost, and I charged 500 for the day. And the patient came back about 3 months later, root canal done with the crown on it, and she demanded that 500 back.
For what?
For because she has not, I not done anything. I just put a hole on the tooth.
Great.
I said, for what I've done that day, that is the charge. If you had completed the entire treatment, this would be the charges. Because you are not completed, whatever was charged was, but she was shouting all the way in the reception. All the other patients were getting agitated. I was not comfortable that at that point of time, all that happened. There are
Sometimes
some
the
bad patients
kindness,
also, sir.
this happens all the way. But then probably the only thing I can pinpoint is that maybe you were slightly less clear in your first sitting before starting the treatment. The only maybe a pinpoint deficiency I can pinpoint, not a bigger flaw, I will say, just a pinpoint thing. But that is common. We all can have bad luck some days. Maybe that was a bad luck day when your kindness did not pay off. That's okay. It's okay. It happens with everyone. Yes, Rajat.
The किस्मत की बात है. I have something to share in the group. It's a chat between me and an international patient. Generally, we dentists always think that international patients, oh wow, that's a treasure. I want to expose that today. It's an international patient. One patient is from USA, wife is from Japan. So both are developed countries. The currency is stronger than ours. I will share the chat in the group what has happened today. It is exactly what we have discussed today. Thanks to you, I have taken care of the entire situation. They have taken the appointment and everything. And I just want my colleagues to see how even these international patients lure you into discounts, reduction in charges. You know, the kya hatkande apnate hain. You will see in all the, you know, the entire chat history. Second thing, Dr. Raghu had asked, when you have a case which needs multiple specialists. Being a prosthodontist, I face that often because I massively depend upon my periodontist, and I am the last person to walk in to treat the patient. Prosthesis is always the last thing. So endo, surgery, perio, I depend upon a lot of my consultants. Generally, what we do, like you said and like you've taught me, sir, first consultation, and we tell them, get us the OPG, and we inform them that this OPG will be seen by us. Over the telephone, we will communicate with you who is the first specialist that you need to consult, and there will be a consultation charge. Generally, if there is more than one consultant, we try and get those 2 or 3 consultants at the same appointment so that a perio consultation is done, immediately endo consultation is done, and anyways I'm there, so prosto consultation is done, and the patient has to pay for each consultation. Of course, my consultation they've already paid the first time, so I don't charge them again, but they have to pay 1,000 rupees for perio and endo consult. In some cases, like Dr. Raghu said and you pointed out, they are already gone, they have already taken the OPG. It is the second or the third clinic that they are visiting. Window shopping or probably just trying to find out. Sometimes I've had old patients don't pay, then I'm sorry, I have no time. I'm sorry, please make an appointment, come another day. If the patient says, no, we will come, we will definitely come, high and dry patients, promise kar dete hain, we will definitely come, please call the consultant. Now, if the patient does not come for the consult, it is a very bad situation for me to face my consultant because my consultant has come all the way. So I will anyways pay the consultant because it is my patient. I have called the patient pays or not, that is a separate issue altogether. But now, especially after COVID, thanks to Digital India, I have started giving them the scan. Please pay consultation rupees 500 in advance for the consultant. Only after the payment, appointment will be considered fixed from your end. We are ready. You pay up first, then the consultation will be done. And that is how I am filtering out. Whoever is not interested, they don't pay, they don't come.
The only problem sometimes is, Dr. Raghu, as Dr. Madhavi also asked, do we charge separately if we are doing case discussion? You need to, we actually fall in the trap ourselves कि अगर हमने case discussion के पैसे या consultation के ज़्यादा ले लिए तो शायद patient case ही ना करवाए. You need to remember, one who can pay 20,000 will pay 25 as well. So those things, those fears and insecurities have to be out from our mind. And because that is the only reason, yes, you will have occasional, say as you had a case, occasional failures होंगे, वो हर चीज में होते हैं, 100% perfect कुछ नहीं होता. But yes, you learn from each experience. But unless or until we all drop out that mentality or insecurity from our head, that the patient will run away if we demand a consultation. I believe consultation is the right of any doctor or any dentist. We do not need to say absolve us this thing, and I never leave my consultation from any patient. वो कहते चलो आपसे सारा करवा ही रही हैं, consultation तो छोड़ दो. No, sorry, that is for the time I spent with you. Even for the not the consultation, sorry, the case discussion part. They said no, sorry, that is going. I've given you my 1 hour, and that is very precious. So I don't need to say do any sort of adjustment in that. Yes, Dr. Sameer, how was the chai pe charcha? Open up your views and then we call it a day. Are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Make your
Yeah.
camera on.
Yes, sir.
बच्चों को
it's a-
dentistry साथ ही सिखा रहे हो हैं, पैसे बचा रहे हो, गुजराती हो पूरे हैं. Yes. Anything you want to ask? This session was specifically for you only. After your
Sir, what is your opinion for giving some kit, oral health kit with the first consultation?
it is an individual choice. It depends upon you. If you want to, actually, this is kind of a bargain buy only. If you can
Sorry for interjecting. I think sir's connection is slightly not up to the mark. Can I please interfere, Dr. Sameer, if you don't mind? Can I put my views?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
This is a dental kit that we provide. And this is given to every patient on the consultation day. So if a husband and wife come, wife is seeking the treatment, then only the wife will get the treatment, this kit, not the husband and wife. So that is point number one. What does this kit contain? Let me first open it. And this is where we brand. This is a bamboo toothbrush. And we have our clinic name on that with the logo.
Okay. Okay.
We inform the patient that we are trying to send a message, avoid plastics.
Okay.
It's a selling
Got it.
point. It's a selling point. 96% of my patients are extremely happy that we are taking this initiative. The remaining 4 are completely confused because they have never thought about it. But it is always positive. Not one incidence of any negative. Second thing, because MRs keep visiting us, we have a small toothpaste. It can be from any company.
Yes, sir.
Mouthwash. This I have bought. This I have bought. And I bought from
Okay.
Punjab. It costed me 12-13 rupees. Then we have 2 small floss. At the entrance, when the patient enters the clinic, we give them a pen, and that pen has our branding on it, White Dental and the phone number. Now, the costing part of it. The toothpaste is actually free, but even if you want to buy the small toothpaste like this, should cost you somewhere around 2.4 to 2.7, depending upon the brand. Colgate is 2.7. Mouthwash, I've already told you, it is approximately round figure 13 rupees. Bamboo brush, if you want a good quality, is approximately 40 rupees. Floss per piece is 2 or 3 rupees depending upon the quality. And the pouch that I have bought, this pouch, including this sticker, has costed me approximately 21 rupees. So overall, if you see, my expenditure is approximately 100 rupees, but I'm creating a branding. Every day when they take up that brush and they brush their teeth, they will think about White Dental, my clinic. Whenever they use that pen, they will again be reminded of me. And most of my international patients, they're used to this. This is one of the differentiating factors. They always ask me, especially patients from US, because in US, every doctor has this habit of giving a dental kit. So they always ask me, doctor, have you worked in the US? And I tell them, no, I haven't. And then they keep up with this information that our doctor always gives us the dental kit, something or the other. And this is what you are doing. You're the first doctor we've seen in India who's doing this. Probably there are others who are doing it. These patients are unaware of it. This creates a very positive impact. Sorry, sir, I
Right.
interjected. The internet was slightly
No,
frozen.
actually, I was disconnected for a while.
Okay.
So that is the
Okay.
reason my frame froze for a few seconds or so.
But doctor has given a nice explanation with the proper kit charge and different branding
yep.
concept.
Yes, I got
Yes.
that. I was restored in about 15 seconds or so. Yep. So any more queries from anyone? What do we call it today? Are you there, Dr. Nikita? Dr. Nikita is from Nepal. She's
Oh.
part of our MPG. Okay, guys. Then we call it a day. Please do post your feedback in the group. No problem, Dr. Nikita. You can post your feedback in the group. No worries. Guys, thank you. Good night. Have a
Thank you,
great
sir.
weekend coming up.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Good night.